All right then, everyone, buckle up because today's guest, Alan, has done it all. He's a tech wizard, trained at an Olympic level in Taekwondo, right?
Yes, yeah.
And Mr. USA. When I've been looking through, I've seen you've done a whole host of podcasts. Um, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, that's a pretty great intro. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. How about yourself, man?
Yeah, I'm good. It's that time of year where everything's festive and expensive, but yeah, 2025 around the corner. Have you set yourself any big goals for next year? What are you looking at?
Man, I'm just looking to advance my career in the fight game. So hopefully get a championship opportunity for Power Slap. Got three movie roles that I'm excited to play. One of them is coming up here pretty shortly. It's a action movie. I'm playing like a Secret Service sort of like corrupt person, but it's an action scene, so I'm excited about that.
That's
So
really cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, let's get into it. When I was looking through, I saw you were doing stuff early in the days at Apple. You're a cyber defense expert and actor. It's such a unique mix. If you could choose one of those paths, say, for the rest of your life, which one would it be, and why is that the most fulfilling fit for you?
Yeah, I mean, everything I'm doing is something that I'm good at, that I enjoy doing, that I know I can excel in, to reach an overall goal. So I'm just gonna have to. I've had this question so many times. I'm just gonna say I love my life. I'm gonna keep going the way I'm going. I'm gonna keep doing all these things because that's the only way I know how to do it. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, hats off. I don't know how you find the time to do all of it. I think that's the thing I struggle with the most. Um,
it's hard.
yeah, I can imagine because you got the full-time cyber defense day job, and how does that work? Because for me, doing stuff for this, I've got to like book holiday to make exceptions for stuff. I'm guessing that's similar. Is that how you work it as well?
Yeah, so the beauty of my job is it comes with a lot of paid time off. So when you're on, you're on. But when you're off, you're still working 9 to 5, but they encourage you to take, your accrued paid time off, basically. So
Mm.
that's why I'm able to do a lot of the extracurricular stuff. And you have to get approval for a lot of things, and all that jazz, which I've, done. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Right now, I'm on paid time off for the holidays. So, shout out. I could have taken a free week off, but I would have had to alternate. And so I had to I had to use paid time off to take 2 weeks off, which I'm not worried about. It was great. Absolutely great.
Mm.
So
Mm.
thank you,
With such a
USAF.
what was that? Sorry.
I said, thank you, USAF. So, yeah.
With such an impressive resume, I think what I was wondering is who are you at the core really? If you strip away all the titles and achievements and everything you've done so far, what's left? How would you describe yourself?
I mean, I don't know. I think I was put here to help people and to do that, not just like help individuals or on like a low scale. I really do believe my purpose is to help, the masses. So I'm doing everything I can to build up a career and in a life that can help lead me in a way, and provide me an opportunity to help the most people. So that's who I am. I don't know. That's my ethos. I love Jesus, and that's kind of
Mm.
like my driving factor. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I get that. So, how do you do that? In what sense? Because obviously, entertainment wise, I can see it. But maybe there's more to it outside that maybe people don't see because you're not on the screen or whatever it is.
Yeah. Um, well, I mean, I think everything I'm doing sort of like leads into that factor of like, like the bigger platform you have, the more you're able to influence people. And sometimes it's just simply having a platform to speak and encourage people. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to help influence, government or policies or anything like that can help, your the people around you, whether it's a state level in the United States. We have our individual states, so it could be on the
Yeah.
state level, it could be on the federal level, which is national. That would be super duper. And if not, sometimes it's just celebrities and fighters alike influence people across the world. And you have a few that do such a great job of motivating people and creating opportunities for other people to like to help people. And so if you can help people too, that's like
Mm.
ultimately, that's like the incredible goal that everyone strives after. It's rather than just, doing a one-off or something like that, that you can inspire other people to want to continuously help and make the world a better place and things like that. So,
Mm. Yeah. No, I'm guessing this is the one that you probably get asked about the most, but I think it's probably the most. When I was looking through, kind of say, let's say your timeline, it's quite obscure, and it's obviously your cyber defense role.
yeah.
Like halfway through, you then went to university and studied for I think it was like 5 years,
Yeah.
and then where did that come from? Because obviously, I think from the top of my head, you'd already had your first role on TV. Was that right?
I was in the middle of doing my degree when I started with acting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about right. Time is so obscure. When was that exactly? Yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, I mean it's roughly the same time. Yeah, you're pretty much right. So
Where did that come from then? Was it something you were always interested in, or?
yeah, I mean, I had done local, commercial things, and I had done theater. And when I was a missionary, when I was younger, I did a lot of like most of what we did was theater based. So creating skits for particularly kids in the UK, I'm not going to lie, are quite difficult to get engaged, especially in their assemblies or even in classroom settings. It's still quite difficult because the kids they don't want to be viewed as what I consider weak, amongst their friends, or I don't know
Hmm.
exactly what that is, but the dead face of like 600 kids trying to entertain them to get them to laugh or engage in any way, shape, or form is like oh man, like in the US, you could easily like even if they think it's dumb, they'll get involved. But in the UK, I always found that it was like zero response whatsoever. And if you got a laugh, you knew that you were funny, right? Like that was something that was like, oh dude, we made kids laugh today. Everybody like, no way. Anyway, we um so that's like creating those types of things and being involved in acting both when I was younger through legitimate roles or just being in theater in class or plays or whatever else and then we had to create like promotional videos and stuff like that when I was doing the missionary stuff thing as well. And so I guess that has always been a part of my life, kind of like martial arts. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not. But
Yeah, yeah. For most people, like I'd say, I'll take me as an example. A typical day at work means sitting through Zoom calls, visiting sites, and drinking probably too much coffee.
yeah.
But I imagine for you, it's probably a little bit more different. And I get you probably can't go into too much detail, but is it like saving the world from digital chaos, as I imagine?
uh, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I mean, like, yeah, I do incident response based things. So, I'm a part of a team, and and that team is a part of a bigger team, and we get missions handed down from on high, and a lot of what we do is. Um, F around and find out basically because something has flagged something and someone can't tell us something. So then we have to figure out, okay, well, what is this exactly? And where do we fit into finding this thing? You got to get permissions out the wazoo to, there are some people that get to just willy nilly like hop on systems and do things. I'm not privy to be on most of those teams, yet. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to get there. And that's simply because I'm a defense operator, right? So that's,
yeah,
um, as opposed to offensive is a little bit more incognito. Uh, but we don't mess around. We're one of the best, and I really enjoy my job. So yeah, we hunt and find, um, I don't know, cyber threats, I guess is what you could say. So that's the way we frame them. And if we find it, we find it. If we don't, we have reason to believe that there's nothing there based off of a percentage, which is usually within the 99 percentile. And if not, then you write an action report that goes up the chain and they send somebody else out that has different skills or a different system to check stuff. And yeah, it's pretty interesting and unique. So I don't know if that
mm.
explains it very well or not, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was visioning like the modern day 007 in my head. So,
We do some of that, but for another time, right? Like behind the scenes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I want to get a little bit nerdy. Previously, you stated that Christopher Reeve's Superman, an absolute icon, is your favorite Superman. Have you seen the
Absolutely.
most recent trailer for the new one that's coming out?
Oh yeah. Yep.
What's your thoughts?
I was a little hesitant until I saw that trailer, and knowing James Gunn, and knowing, well, like I asked some people in the Hollywood realm to see some behind the scenes stuff because I really am a little too invested as a Superman fan. I'm gonna be honest. I totally called in some favors there, but I really like it. I really like it a lot. I think it's gonna be a phenomenal film. I dog so hard on Henry Cavill's version of Man of Steel, and I always say it's just the Man of Steel and it's not Superman because I never felt like he really was Superman. I felt like he was just a guy in the Superman suit, just kind of like filling the role. It's just like, oh, he looks like Superman. It's like, yeah, well, you can't look like Super. You have to be Superman. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, he just never nailed it. And I don't know. I, I say that because I really love Henry Cavill. He's like a phenomenal actor. Don't get me
Mm.
wrong. So, and I know there's a plethora of people that are going to murder me later. So it's fine. But I like this one. This he's like 6'4", weighs like 230 now. He's super like I was like, this guy's Superman, man. I don't know. Like yeah.
I'm super jealous when you dropped that little behind the scenes stuff. I wish I had that kind of clout to be able to go see some of my favourite films behind the scenes and find out little nuggets that people don't talk about. That's a skill set, isn't it? That yeah, not about what you know, it's about who you know, right?
Yeah, you gotta be I think if you're nice and you help people along the way, they'll help you out. And sometimes it comes with some fringe benefits that they're a little tough to. Yeah.
I want to ask you, and we've got one thing that's obvious which we can't use, but if you could change one thing about Christopher Reeve's Superman, his powers,
Mm.
personality, or maybe that questionable curl that I think about, what would you change? And obviously, you can't say kryptonite allergy or his.
Well, that makes him Superman. That would be you can't take that away. Man, I don't. Yeah, that's a phenomenal question because I really felt like he nailed who Superman was because he had that dorky
Mm,
behind the scenes. Like you really like everyone rags on. It's like, oh, he takes off his glasses, but the way he carried himself and all that other stuff, it's like, well, actually, you probably would be like, that guy kind of looks like Superman, but you would never be like, oh no, that's definitely him because he played Clark Kent so well, as well as being Superman on the flip side of that. So I would say, I mean, sure, it was a little campy, I guess, maybe like. But that was
okay.
kind of like the spirit of Superman is like true justice in the American way, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the gist. So I don't know, maybe that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Um. When Angus first mentioned you and started talking about you, one thing I didn't realise. I mean, if I'm honest, until I watched a few of your slap competitions, I was probably on that same bandwidth as everyone else of like power slap. Like it's just a head case for CTE. People are just gonna have like mad brain injuries. I watched your fight with I forgot the guy with the beard. He absolutely walloped you, and then I went on to watch the other ones. I've forgotten his name. Sorry. And I was like, okay, now I get it. And I've been like really into it since. It's one of those things. I've got to say to anyone that watches this, don't not watch it and slate it. Watch it and then come back and leave a comment because it completely changed me. But one thing I didn't realize was that obviously you're also trained in Taekwondo to an Olympic level,
Mhm.
and obviously you want to get into martial arts and you're kind of looking to that stuff, that kind of stuff. I imagine like getting to the level that you got to in Taekwondo is kind of becoming a Jedi, but without all the bruises. What's the lesson from all those years of training that stuck with you?
Man, yeah, I don't know. I think for me at a time like where I was, there was a lot of gang violence, and my dad and both my parents worked like a lot. So when
Mm,
they took me there, I really felt like I kind of had a father figure in my dojo master, and I guess he just really instilled discipline and treating others well, and
mm,
not like he was all about good grades and not doing drugs. Like he kicked people out that probably could have gone on to be an Olympic champion because they, got involved with drugs or whatever else, or even just an affiliation with gangs or something like that. He would just kick them out, and he would give them a second chance if they wanted to come back. But if they said no, I'm going to keep doing this, and he was like, all right, see you. So he was
mm.
kind of like that old school Mr. Miyagi, but his name was Master Juarez was his name. So, but yeah, I mean, just the discipline and being good natured. Like, it's kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, like anything to do with Superman, like totally reflects that, like 100%. So, just being good natured, treating your fellow man well, and being disciplined. In the sense that, like, if you're gonna do something, we went to the umpteenth degree. Like, we would do when we were on the tournament team. You would do like the beginning of a Saturday basically was like you would do 500 push-ups, and then you do 500 sit-ups, and then you would run a mile, and then sometimes we would go run 10 miles like just willy-nilly, like, all right, instead of doing practice today, we're gonna go run 10 miles. And I was pretty young at the time, so I was like, that was, I don't know, that was pretty impactful for me because it was kind of like, I don't know. You had to ascend to this position of like, okay, I'm willing to go way past like the normal person because we're in the normal classes, but we're also on this tournament team, and so you had people that were not willing to cross that threshold of I'm going to be absolutely disciplined in this thing and become the best, and it really showed. So he trained, a few Olympians, and he was I think he was the seventh degree, working on his eighth when I left, and so he was quite disciplined himself, and he really trained people to that level. And I think that's always stuck with me. So outside of the flexibility, that's something that stuck with me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Why did you never go the full way, if that makes sense? Was it because you wanted to pursue other things, or?
We moved, and I couldn't find somebody to train me that was capable of getting me there. Basically, didn't
Mm,
have the connections and didn't know how to train somebody like and like take you to all these different tournaments and stuff like that. Because
yeah.
that's what it's about. You need someone who's like heavily involved, day in and day out, like able to communicate with other people about you and stuff like that. So,
Mm,
and I just couldn't find it where I was. So,
yeah. So I mentioned it earlier. You've got an amateur MMA record.
uh
When you took this power slap opportunity came to you, did you see that as a way into the UFC, or was it completely? Were you thinking something else?
no, yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, it's on my profile on powerslap.com. You can see it. It's like I wholeheartedly. I had a conversation with Uriah Faber when I was out in Abu Dhabi. Actually, this is hilarious. So it's like super late at night, and I was like three sheets to the wind, and and I came across him, and I was like, "What is Uriah Faber doing? Just sitting out by himself, right?" It's like a little apparition. I was like, "Am I that drunk?" So anyway, I went up to him. Yeah, because I had to make sure. I was like, "There's no shot." And then for sure it was him. He was there like the next day. He was coaching some people out there, and so I'm talking like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. This guy's out there on an iPad talking to me, taking notes about fights, about his fighters, who they're fighting, what they could do better, and like just nailing down the last little intricacies of what he could tell them while they're out there. And I was just like, how's it? This guy's amazing. I'm gonna be honest with you. So anyway, he gave me a game plan on what I could do to maybe make it to the UFC, and he was like, most people at your age have a 2%, maybe at the best 5%. He was like, honestly, with the power slap thing and everything else, you got like a 10% chance, right? He was like, so that's way better than anybody else in general to begin with.
Mm,
Like, but yeah, he kind of road mapped it out for me. And I wish I had that when I first started with power slap because that's something I've been looking for, and I've been training in MMA, and boxing and kickboxing and things like that. That's yeah, it's absolutely 100% on my mind. That's a really long-winded way of saying yes, 100%. I
mm.
would love to be. I think being a UFC fighter would be very fulfilling for me at least.
I mean, it's a pretty good job, isn't it, to put on the resume with along with everything else that you've got.
I agree. Yeah.
I also touched on obviously watching your power slap fights, and one thing that really kind of stood out to me that I noticed was your technique changed.
Yep.
You went from the kind of typical full extension to more of a short-handed gear up. What's the thinking behind that? Because it's one thing I thought was like, why have you changed that?
Yeah, I mean, so speed, I guess, is really what it boiled down to. Um, and I guess the muscle groups I was training at the time, I couldn't generate as much speed with the traditional slap, which I've changed. But yeah, for the past few, I don't know, it was entertaining. And then also, it was very fast and powerful. I was able to get a 225-pound bob off the ground with it. So I was like, this should be suitable for power slap. But um, Yeah. Anyway, I've changed it. I've changed the different muscle groups that I've been working on, and my how I stretch and things like that. And so it's going to be different the next time I'm out there. So yeah.
Mm, that's interesting. How do you see the evolution of power slap? Because if we look at, say, the early days of Ultimate Fighting Championship, it was kind of that karate versus jiu-jitsu, and it evolved, and now we've got like a real mixture. How do you see power slap going? Do you think it'll go the same way, where people will develop new techniques and stuff like that?
I think so, and I'm curious to see where the promotion goes with some of this stuff because like at the end of the day, there is a limited range of what we can do right now. So if they change that on some level, because I understand the impact point is to minimize, concussive damage. Basically, is what it
Mm.
boils down to. They're like, hey, this is the strike zone because otherwise, we're just allowing you to take a massive hit on someone. So, like, and that's valid, but like maybe the way we do strikes and stuff like that. I think that would be really interesting. And obviously, you have people coming from different leagues and different parts of the world that have competed. Like a lot of people don't know that this has already existed for quite some time. Um,
Mm.
and there are different leagues, and there is an Eastern European league, and I think there's a league in the UK even. It's like this is not something like Dana White has just made this a big promotion and done a great
Yeah.
job making it healthy and you know really getting our name out there and things like that too. So yeah, I would say that's the value of Power Slap. But how it changes, I mean that's really up to the athletic commissions and the promotion itself. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Speaking of weirdly punishing hobbies, I wanted to talk about rock climbing. It's something that I've done, and I've spent quite a bit of time rock climbing.
Sweet, that's awesome.
When you're halfway up a wall, and I mean, I've had it a few times where you kind of get stuck and you have the shakes, and you're thinking, I can't reach that, but your friend's telling you basically just move a foot and you can. What's your kind of what do you do in that moment? Do you risk it all and hope for the best, or do you like kind of try to dyno and tell everyone your hands are sweaty?
I mean, I've had that moment, especially rock climbing. But I totally know what you're talking about. Like that is a real reach there. But yeah, no, I mean that's it. I either go all in or I say I'm out. Like that's just basically. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a rope there. That's what it's for. Unlike Alex Honnold, absolute nut job. Um, oh, I lost myself there.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Uh, one of the matches I watched, which interested me the most, is when you fought Cole or slapped Cole.
yeah.
I think that he flinched for every single shot, even the one they said at the end landed.
Oh yeah.
Um, what was going through your head at that time when obviously because I was like, that's another flinch, like the guy's got to be finished. How do you kind of recuperate and then go right? I mean, I should have won, but here we go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did. I ended up winning. I just wanted the knockout at the end of the day, which I think I would have had on him, but he kept leaning into it, and it changes. It really is a phenomenal defensive tactic. Like we've had somebody who got knocked down, and they were basically going to lose, and so they flinched into it just so that they could get the strike count up, and they didn't look. It just changes like your stats and things like that. So it makes you I don't know if you can last longer, even if it's a flinch, like it's still, it changes everything, right? Like, because if I just knock you out on one go, or I knock you out on the second one after I already rocked you really hard, it's almost a guaranteed bonus for that fighter who knocked you out. Then also it's a real where it's just like this guy sucks, right? Well, it's like well if you can eat one at least or a couple, and then you get knocked down, then it doesn't look so bad basically. So that's
Mm,
it really sucks because honestly, you can break somebody's hand, and I like, I don't know that I sprained my wrist per se, and I don't want to say this
okay.
because I know that they always like watch this kind of crap, but like, but that's the truth. I really had like either my bone was bruised or I had a sprained wrist after that match. I was so pissed about it. I was like, dude, why the hell did you do that? Like, because he was all like, it's got to be a clean match and no like clubs or fouls.
Mm.
First thing he does is throw his thumb into my eye. Like I had the biggest black eye after that. Like immediately after the match too. I was like, "You bastards!" um, yeah, I don't know. I was super frustrated because I really wanted that knockout because I knew it would change my ability to get a contender match for
Mm.
getting a championship match, and it has. It's totally stalled it because we were supposed to see Austin Turpin and Russell Rivera fight like 6 months ago. They were supposed to fight in December. It didn't happen, and now they're finally fighting in January. So it delays everyone's fights, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, thanks a lot, man. So love Colton Cole. Don't get me wrong. A good example of that recently was Luke Simons against TJ Thomas, who like every time Luke just did the exact same thing Colton Cole did, which was lean into it. And then they gave him the knockout, even though he like took a massive step into his swing. And you're like,
Mm.
I don't know. I don't want to criticize the league too much, but you're like, bro, that was insane. You let him go on the disqualification from the flinching, and then also you gave him like the strike with like the massive step. I don't know. So it's it's wild, man. I don't know. I should have gotten a knockout against Cole. That's all that I really care about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely after I think it was the third slap of him flinching, I was like, he literally just flinched again. How is he saying that's fine? It was so obvious.
Yeah.
But they scooted over it. I liked as well on that fight on that competition fight. Michael Bisping's commentary. I don't know if you've gone back and listened to it, where he
Hell
called him
yeah. I
a
love Michael
psycho and a
Bisping.
serial killer on the sly.
Hell yeah.
I
Love
was
that.
I was thinking, could you? I was thinking of you as kind of like the next what's his name, this Ted Bundy, like playing a Ted Bundy role in your like acting career. Do you reckon that's something you could?
It's like, do you want to play that role? Sure, you do, but you don't at the same time. Like, this guy really is a serial killer. Yeah. No, that would be
Right.
incredible. I would love that. But yeah. Yeah.
If Michael Bisping says it, I think you got to run with it, right?
I think, yeah, no, I was a huge shout out. I was tickled pink when he said that. I love that guy. He truly is. Like, anytime I see him, he's very supportive. So, as a fan and as someone who's gotten to know him a little bit, I'm honored to know him. So he's cool.
Mm, mm. I wanted to talk films with you a little bit, obviously with the acting career and obviously the fascination with Superman. I'm guessing there's a bit more there in terms of like kind of the films that you're into.
Hmm.
Everyone's kind of got that film they could watch over and over again without getting bored. What's yours, and why does it have such a hold on you?
Yeah, let's see. I think I go to The Gladiator a lot. I don't know how many times I could watch that movie, but there's just something about it, I love the idea of freedom. So there's a whole list of movies I could throw at you, but I'll just stick with The Gladiator, right? Like it's got this uh everything about it shouts freedom from the beginning to the end, right? Like here's this man who he believes in honor and sacrifice and things like that, but at the end of the core of it is he desires freedom and for other people to be free, right? So he's getting out there. He doesn't fight initially, and then he begins to fight, and what he's fighting for seems kind of aimless at first, but then what he's really fighting for is not really the freedom of himself, but his whole country, And I don't know, I just something about it. You just like root for the guy the whole time, It's probably because I'm a fighter. Don't get me wrong, but it's that core freedom that I really love. It's like that's why I love Superman. It's like true justice the American way. It's still about freedom. Like, he's going around beating up criminals at the end of the day, like to prevent them from doing more crime. But his whole
Yeah,
thing is about inspiring hope and freedom, right? So I don't know. Yeah.
I love that. It's a great shout. And I mean, I'm a bit on edge about Russell Crowe. Like he's absolutely phenomenal in that film, but I don't think he's ever done anything. And maybe it's the role itself that's not let him live up to it in another role. But I don't know. I've seen a few other films of him in like. I'm a bit of a sucker for musicals. Oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this now. And he was in Les Miserables.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I thought it was a good
Um,
movie. There are a lot of
I mean,
haters.
it's good. It's a good movie, but Russ, after seeing him in Gladiator, I can't see him in anything else and think, yeah, like you smashed that. It's a real difficult one.
What?
Um,
Okay, all right. I get you. Yeah.
it's yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. I mean, like A Beautiful Mind. Have you seen that movie? Like, you did really
I'm
great in
not
that
no.
movie. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that one out. I'm gonna make a note. A Beautiful Mind.
it is a really good movie, actually. So,
Give me 2 seconds while I note that down because I will forget. I can edit this out. Don't worry.
no, it's worth it. It's definitely, yeah. If you and your wife need like a late night movie or something like that, you're gonna be like, damn, that was it.
Beautiful Mind. Awesome. And while we're at it with the films, who's like one actor or director that always knocks it out of the park for you, no matter what role or film that they're in?
Probably Anthony Hopkins, if I'm being honest. Like that guy
Okay,
always knocks it out of the park. So I mean,
okay,
and I don't feel like he like because sometimes you see an actor and you think I'm watching the same actor over and over again, but I like the role that they're playing. But it's really I'm not going to say any names, but I feel like everyone knows who I'm talking about. Like there sometimes it's just you really just want to see that person act, but in a different movie. So like, but Anthony Hopkins is like I don't know. He's got that theater sort of opera like type background. I feel like and he really he's lasted quite a while. Like if you think about
mm,
some actors and actresses, sometimes they have a good 10, 20-year career, but this man is started out very young, still going, still inspiring others. But he does have that like much more. He's really nailed down like the balance of like that theatrical nature,
mm.
and I mean that in the sense of being someone who does theater, but then also he's really got that film persona nailed down too. He just does such a great job, and like oh gosh, there's one film. What is that called? It's the guy with the bandana. Crap, he inspired Batman. Do you
The
know what I'm talking?
bandana.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a Spanish warrior.
Zorro.
Yes, thank you. That's
Zorro.
exactly what I'm thinking of. I was like, God, I can't think of the name. Yeah, I mean, what a versatile role, right? But then you got something like he plays in another movie. What is it called? I love it's like Meet Joe Black. That's what it's called. You see him in
Mm.
that, like very different roles. I don't know. He just anytime he plays a role, he really nails it. So
Yeah, I mean his performance in Silence of the Lambs was like, yeah, mind blowing. Yeah, fantastic. I'm getting a vibe that you're into some of the older films rather than some of the more modern films.
I mean, I like them both, but yeah.
Okay, okay. I was just
Yeah, I'll watch anything to be honest. I mean, I love movies. That's I feel like there are some actors that don't really watch movies, but I'm like, that's weird, man. Like you're in the movie biz, like
yeah, yeah.
it's like watching
I
film for fights. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm massive. I absolutely love films. So yeah, having an opportunity to speak to an actor is like, ooh, that's really cool for me.
yeah. Thanks, man.
Slightly fanboy in here.
I get it, dude. I totally get it. I'm the exact same way. I try to play it cool, like, oh, what do you do in these situations? Yeah. Anyway, you totally get it. Yeah.
You clearly love heroes, villains, and everything between. Looking at your journey and reflecting on it, do you ever feel like you're living out your own like superhero origin story yourself at the moment?
Man, I really like that question. That's good. Yeah, I guess for everyone's the hero of their own story. I guess is something that people say, but yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. I think, I've had plenty of like, you talk about like rock climbing and stuff like that. I'm sure you've had some experiences, but I've had some real like life and death situations quite often in my life, and I think that's really impacted me in the sense that like, and I had them at a really young age too, and I
Okay.
saw death and injustice and things like that at a very young age. And so maybe, I guess you could say at the core of it, maybe it is what some people would consider childish, but I just see it as like, there's like a core truth to, like being kind to people or doing the right thing or being a good neighbor to other folks. And so I think because of those things that, yeah, sometimes maybe I just feel like, I'm only going to be here for a limited amount of time. Like, why not try and live the most grandiose life and be a hero to the people that you're allowed to be? Like just aim for the absolute highest you can possibly go and be the best person you could possibly be. And sometimes you have to be a person you don't want to be like to advance or whatever else. But, it's just the nature of anything, really. But yeah, man, I guess I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it. You give me more of a Batman vibe, like than a Superman vibe. You know what I mean? With the kind of early kind of woe, and then kind of coming into it now. I mean, minus probably billions of pounds, like most of us, but maybe one day with the way you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I do a little bit of Batman too. So.
Oh, okay, okay. He's hidden there. Can we get the mask on? Does the mask go on?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, why not? Um, I don't want to steal Jensen Ackles' thunder. I know he wants to play Batman so bad, but I'm like, guy's a phenomenal guy. So I'm rooting for him. Honestly, James Gunn, make a Batman. What are you doing, dude? Like, yeah, I don't know. I do absolutely love Batman, right? Like, injustice. Absolutely love
Batman
it.
2 coming soon.
Yeah. Yeah, move over. Batman. Yeah, that's cool. I got to work with some people that do their logos like the Batman thing, so I love that. But anyway, can't go into specifics on that. But yeah, they're cool.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah. I'm very jealous. That's so cool. If you ever like in the UK shooting, let me know because I would love to just sit in the corner quietly. They probably don't allow that, but yeah.
Yeah, they allow guests sometimes. You know, maybe. Yeah, it might depend on the film, but yeah, hit me up if I'm ever out there for sure.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Who, if you could ever have someone kind of play your say you get a major role as Batman, so we say it, who would you want to play your nemesis?
Oh, that's a great question. Damn, what a phenomenal question. My nemesis. Wow. Gosh. I think it would be fun to play if I had Dwayne the Rock Johnson as my nemesis. That would be so fun. I think that would be so cool.
You could play Rhino and you could be Batman or something.
Yeah, dude, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I don't know the best answer to that question, but I mean, like honestly, he's so fun as an actor. I think he could nail being a bad guy too very well. So yeah.
And supporting Angus a little bit because I know he works for Colossal Combat. Obviously, recently you've signed as a combat martial artist for them. I don't know how
Yeah.
you boxing. I think is their main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you looking at with them at the moment? Is there anything kind of I don't know, misfits? Is that kind of a thing? I don't know. Misfits are obviously the big thing that we see here.
Yeah. No, I think that's. I mean, that's basically it. Is either BKFC, Misfits, Dirty, whatever that Dirty Boxing is that recently came out.
Mike Perry's one.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm so mad they didn't ask me to do that. I'm like, I was very involved with like, hey, check this out, and they like, I'm glad for my buddy Dwayne Crespo from Power Stop. He actually got to fight. I'm sure you saw the reels. I felt very bad for him. He wasn't prepped for what is that other guy's name? Romero or something like that. He wasn't prepped for his little jump that he did, and I was like, what is that? Can you even do that boxing? This is dirty boxing, right? But anyway, I don't think he was prepped for that at all. But he did great, like leading up to it. Obviously, the highlights don't do him justice on that, but yeah, man, that's it. Like, I want to get. I think getting a professional fight in, or even a great exhibition match with somebody that's respectable, could help maybe legitimize my fighting career a little bit more. Maybe help me get a better MMA professional fight that could that I could build off of, and then hopefully make it to the UFC. I guess that's what I'm looking at. There's some people don't really respect power slap very well. I'm just being honest. So it's like, well, I like fighting, and I would love to do another form of fighting. And if I have to like do these weird, path to get to where I would like to go, like that's it. I still want to get the belt in power slap, and I think power slap is badass. I'm just saying, like that's kind of the thought process behind it all. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing you take some of the slaps that you've taken, and then just kind of look at people like you've just like it was nothing, which you quite fashionably do very well.
Thanks.
I think if I slapped you and you'd done that to me, I would be like, right, yeah, that's enough. Don't even slap me. I'm done. I'm leaving. That is wild. Kudos, because I did so Angus got me onto Crypto Fight Night boxing match.
Oh wow.
And I had no previous boxing experience, and I just thought this would be fun. I want to do it for the experience.
Yeah.
We turned up on the Tuesday, and I was like, I probably should have trained. This isn't a good idea. And that was scary enough as it is. And we had like 16-ounce gloves on. The guy that I was fighting had like no experience. I had no experience, so relatively I was fine.
Yeah.
But if I went in there against someone like you, and it was like, I get that. Yeah. You got a set of kahoonies, as we say here.
Hey, dude. I mean, you got in there. That's it. Like, I wouldn't downplay that. You know, there's no small roles. I think anybody who gets in the ring, regardless of the level, is to me that massive respect. You know, because that just it takes so much. I to get to that point alone is it's pretty hard for people to cross that threshold. So massive kudos to you, man.
Yeah, well, either brave or stupid. I think stupid is probably the better way of saying it.
Absolutely, you got to have a little bit of that. That's like there are other things I could be doing.
Yeah, exactly. And my partner wasn't too impressed, but hey ho.
That's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I've gotten in the ring with somebody who's like way better than me, and like it sucks because you see your inadequacy, but like at the same
mm,
time, I've never met anybody who doesn't respect you like for getting there.
mm.
But but yeah, I mean, the only reason he did a lot better than me was he was like 3 inches taller and had like 7 inch reach advantage, and he was a pro boxer. And I was coming from like an MMA kicking background. So I did fine in the beginning, but over time, it's just the plethora of punches. He had so many more significant strikes than I did. So I
Yeah.
was um, I was pretty battered by it, I'll be honest.
And you're 6'2", aren't you? So this guy's like 6'5".
Yeah, how he managed to weigh in, like, because we both went in there for like 170, and the dude must have like completely dehydrated. Like, I have no idea, because I think,
170.
yeah, he probably weighed like, he at least got back to like 195 like the next day, and I probably jumped up to like 178. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy,
What?
like, when I was hitting him, I was like, you weigh so much more than you did yesterday. So I kicked him to the ground multiple times. That was like the best part of the fight for me was, and I threw like a spinning back kick into his chest, and I clocked him in the head so hard he had this red line across, and I was like, yes.
That's
But yeah, no, I forgot his name, but I used to know it by heart. He did such a badass job because I battered the hell out of this guy, but he just kept coming. It was the first time I really like gone up against somebody where I was like, there are other people like me that can just take really hard hits. Yeah, yeah,
Mate, 170 and was 6'5". That is wild.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and at the time, because when I saw him at the weigh-ins, I was like, dude, this guy's so scrawny. I'm totally gonna take this guy.
And the next day he was just like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I was like, I got fooled. With the ruse. Yeah, I had no idea about his fighting background either. Like, no one told me. It was amateur, and I'm always just ready to get into a fight. It was the last minute. I was supposed to fight somebody else. They didn't even show up for the weigh-in. This guy was like a replacement, and like everyone was like, "Dude, you got this guy." And I don't know. I had some bad coaching mixed with the fact that I had no idea that he was like a pro boxer before that. So it's like, who let this guy in the ring with it? I did a great job. Don't worry about it. But I was, yeah, anyway. It's just one that sticks with you. You're like, all right, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. Yeah.
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 Alan, this has been wild. We've covered everything from Superman to slap-induced chaos. Before we go, and I know we've touched on it slightly, but I was hoping we get like a one big shebang. What's next for you? And please don't say something that's going to make me feel super lazy in comparison, because your resume's insane already.
Um, yeah, I mean, hopefully the next thing that's up for me is a power slap match. So, hopefully Dana and Frank give me a call and they're like, "Hey man, come in and do this match." But we'll wait to see what happens after January
Hmm.
in the next power slap, and hopefully in March we'll see that. But otherwise, I'm going to be in this phenomenal film called "And Then You Die," which is being made by Choice Skinner, and
Hmm.
it's got some phenomenal actors in there, and I'm very blessed to get in there and do some action scenes. Very pumped about it. There's another military film I'm doing in June, and it is called. Well, I don't think the name's dropped actually, and I don't know that I can say what it is, but
Oh,
it's geared towards military folks. I hope you guys, when I can give you more information, I'll let you guys know, but be on the lookout for it. It supports anyone anywhere in the world that has ever been in the military. I promise you can relate to this. So yeah,
that's super cool. I look forward to watching. I'll be there. Don't worry.
hell yeah.
Appreciate you coming on, and it's been a pleasure watching you break the rules and probably make everyone that's listening to this feel like we're wasting our lives. But anyway,
no, God, no. I mean, shit, go for your dreams, right? Like that's the point of what Like I hope to inspire people to chase their dreams, but at the same time, if you're living your best life, live your best life, man. Don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Until next time, folks, if you see Alan's name on a movie poster or a cybersecurity alert, maybe run the other way or just grab some popcorn. We'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.